Okay. So as I mentioned, right? So this is more specific to OAuth 2.0. So we are going to talk about what is delegation authorization problem. Okay. What is OAuth 2.0? What is SAML? What is OpenID Connect? Okay. And for each, as I mentioned, for each area we have a use case. We talk about OAuth dons. What is that? We talk about the grant types. We have multiple grant types, and we'll see the flow also for that. And we'll talk about when we switch from one external ID provider to another identity provider. Is there any guideline for that? Okay. We'll talk about JWT policy with scopes and access policy. That is important focus area for this demo. Second demo, we'll talk about the Okta integration with our Anypoint Platform. In both cases, we'll use Okta, okay, for the client provider as well as for identity provider, okay. And then we'll see in the second demo, we'll see that once I log in from Okta, how that user is getting respective permissions and how this user is getting added to the respective team, automatically. So that's what we in the demo 2 we'll see. Okay. Okay. So OAuth, when we talk about OAuth 2.0, it's authorization framework. Okay, it's not for authentication. Most of the scenario people misuse this guy for authentication also. But in OAuth 2.0, it's completely for authorization. So we talk about it in a real life also. We use OAuth. Okay, OAuth 2.0. I give some examples regarding OAuth 2.0. See, for example, once you go to some restaurant, okay, let's say you have a car and you give that car for car parking. So let's say there is a valid car parking with there. Now sometimes you hesitate to give your car, right? Let's say you have expensive car, okay, so you have some odysseys. You always hesitate to give that car to the wallet because you're worried about whether sometimes you think like whether my car will get properly handled or not, or whether it gets stolen or not. All these questions comes to you, right? But what if you have some special key, a master key in your hand? Okay, so in that case, you'll give your car without any hesitation because you know that if even somebody's steal your car, you can control from your pocket, right? So that something is nothing but access key or access token. Okay, with that you are giving permissions to your car. Okay, you can go, and if somebody steals that car, they can go hardly 2 kilometers. They can drive that car with 40 kilometers per hour only. Okay, this kind of authorization or scope you are mentioning that master key. So this is exactly one example of the auth 2.0. One more example I can give you auth 2.0. Let's say you go to the hotel, right? So you do the booking and you wanted to access a room, right? Directly you won't get access to your room. You have to go to the receptionist first, introduce yourself there. You get a key for your room. That key is nothing but the authorization access token, I can say that. Okay, so in that key it's mentioned that you can access only room. If you want to access a gym or some other privileged area of the hotel, you need to buy the membership or get the new access key where those permissions are there. Exactly similar context in day-to-day life we use OAuth 2.0, but we never notice that. Okay, let's come back to the second point, which is SAML 2.0. This is the older way of communications. Still it's there, but for the mobile applications, for the web applications, for the desktop applications, outside of your corporate network, we won't use SAML. Okay, so we generally go for OpenID Connect. I'll talk about that. But SAML is XML-based protocol where you used in case of under your corporate network, you wanted to access multiple applications like your Salesforce, Workday, your box, right? All these applications you wanted to see. Once I log in once, let's say that is called single sign-on. Okay, I don't want to access again and again for each and every application, right? So that's where in enterprises, SAML is getting used. Still, it's getting used. Still, it is strong, but it is XML based. Okay. OpenID Connect is nothing but, as I mentioned, It's on top of OAuth 2.0. Okay, so only OpenID Connect, we can't say that it can exist without OAuth 2.0. It's on top of. It's on top of OAuth 2.0 means OAuth 2.0 plus something is nothing but OpenID Connect. So OpenID Connect. So what was missing in OAuth 2.0? The authentication part was missing, right? So that part is getting added, and then new name was given to that particular framework that is called OpenID Connect. Okay, so we are going to see OpenID Connect and SAML, both demos. Okay, so as I mentioned, demo one will be focusing on OpenID Connect, and second one will be focusing on SAML. So if you use OpenID Connect, that means you are indirectly using OAuth 2.0, right? So when we're talking about OpenID Connect, on top of, okay, so let me just, okay. So you have, let's say you have something OAuth 2.0 here. On top of, you're adding something, then it becomes the OpenID Connect. This on top of something is nothing but in OAuth 2.0. If I go ahead and say 2.0, this one, it has, you can go to OAuth 2.0, you can define your own scopes. Okay, so there is no standard way of giving scope over here. There is no standardization. If you want to go for standardization, you can't control this OAuth 2.0. So what they did is they have added few things here. The first thing is they have added ID token to identify the user who logged in, actually who wanted to access your APIs. Second thing, they have added few URLs here. One of them is user info. So you wanted to know few informations about the user info, that URL is getting added, and they have fixed the scopes here. Okay, so this minimum three things are there extra added on top of ID token, the predefined scopes, and just a second, guys. Just a second. I'll just my door was locked, but it. Yeah, let's come back to this point. Okay, so OpenID is connect, OpenID Connect, OIDC for it. So that's what the extra we are getting. So when we are saying OpenID Connect, so internally or indirectly, where we are saying it's included in OpenID Connect, and now it's a complete. It's for authentication as well as for authorization. Authentication as well as authorization. Okay. So third point is, as I mentioned, right? So that's what I mentioned, right? So OAuth 2.0 plus the ID token, it becomes the OpenID Connect. Then when should we use SAML? When should we use OAuth 2.0? When should we use OpenID Connect? So definitely, when you're talking about mobile applications, there is no question. So go ahead with OpenID Connect. If you are implementing something from the scratch, OpenID Connect's latest protocol, okay, or framework, I would say, go ahead and use OpenID Connect. Okay, so you need to flow with the state where it is going, right? So take that, right? So what we do is we wear clothes which are trendy, right? So that's what we are saying in this point. And SAML, definitely, if your application is supporting SAML, already supporting SAML, go with SAML. But SAML is actually XML based, and in the enterprises, this is for SS4. So that once you logged in, all the applications inside your boundaries, right, data centers, all those you will be able to access, okay, without logging again and again, okay. Okay, so let's take a few use case. Okay, so as I mentioned, few generic layman perspective use case where one restaurant and one hotel, one was car parking and one was entering the hotel. Those two use cases are in general. Okay, so let's talk about OAuth. Okay, what use case? So let's say you wanted to log into your Zepto. Zepto is very famous food delivery app now. Okay, so you wanted to create account over there, right? What do? You go download that Zepto, or you go to the web application and try to log in there. So you'll get the option sign with Google, Gmail, sign with Facebook, sign with something else, right? You click on sign with Gmail, right? What happens? you'll get a pop-up saying that, okay, log into the Gmail. And once you log in, once you give proper credentials, what happens? It will give pop-up. It will in the pop-up or window, it says that Zepto want to access your contact details, okay, or profile details, right? So you check, okay, give access to this is this. Then what happens is you're authorizing Zepto to access your Google contacts, Google profile details, right? So that means you are actually a resource owner. We'll talk about this terminology later, but in simple term, when you're doing this, Zepto, we are saying that logging with Gmail, this is exactly OAuth 2.0. Okay, so here Gmail has auth server, it has resource servers. We are going to talk about all those things terminology later, but everybody use this. If they use this, they used already OAuth 2.0. Okay, let's add few things to that. Now let's say I wanted to see that who is this user. Let me identify that. So then we'll be using OpenID Connect. So in this case, will be the user will be authenticated by its account by third party applications like Facebook or Gmail. So in this case, let's say you wanted to access Spotify application, let's say, right? So what you'll do, you will log in, sign in with Facebook, and you'll authenticate yourself, and then you'll pass the credentials, and your credentials will be safely with the Facebook. So if anything goes wrong with the Spotify, you are in safe hand. Okay. So you're not going to share your credentials with Spotify, but Spotify will you identify via Facebook. So here OpenID Connect will be using. SAML, as I mentioned, right? It will be for enterprises where you have multiple applications, okay, like Salesforce, like Box, like Workday, all these applications within your internal network or on premises, okay, you can go ahead and use SAML. SAML is XML based, it's old, still people are using it. Okay. Okay, I'll take a pause over here. Any questions, Abhishek, in the chat?
Uh, Probably not question. Just Murli is saying like I believe web app B2B and B2C must be using OpenID.
Yes. As I mentioned, right, you need to take a boat where all the people are going, right, or the industry or the trend is going. You go ahead, mobile apps basically. So OAuth 2.0 is actually giving you a federated identity. I'll come to that point also because I don't want to use those jargons now. Federated identity is something where you can externalize or delegate your access somewhere else. Okay, and from there uh, you'll be integrating with your parties. Okay. So one of the example is this web app, your mobile apps, okay, B2B, whatever you're mentioning. Okay, so let's talk about this scenario. Okay, so I have a Zomato app. Okay, now I wanted to create a profile. Okay, and what I do, okay, so I can either go and directly create a profile inside Zomato, or I have option. I can use a third party, which is like Facebook or Gmail or Twitter, or in some case GitHub also gives for Okta. I use GitHub. Okay, and then I say that okay, I wanted to create this, so I need some information, right? What all that information we see one by one. So now let's say I have decided I don't want to directly create a profile, enter all the details inside my Zomato. What I'll do, I'll ask Facebook, can you give me, or basically, I am not going to ask, the Zomato will ask, can you give me the profile details of this person? Because I wanted to create an account for this person in Zomato app. That is what the simple use case we have. We'll see that how the authorization is delegated to Facebook and how OAuth dance works here, what all actors are involved here, and what is the terminology. On the same slide, I'm going to explain everything over here. Okay, so let's see one by one. Our intention was to create a profile inside Zomato. I said there are two options. We can directly go to Zomato app and insert everything and create the profile, If you don't want to do that, you can go ahead and use any third-party application just like Gmail, Facebook, Twitter, or something else. Now I chose that. Okay, I'll go with the Facebook. Now what happens? Once you select, you get an option over there, right? Login with Gmail, login with Facebook, login with Twitter. I trigger that or I click that button. Now the moment I click that button, it will everything is happening in the browser itself. Okay, so we'll talk about for this specific area there is some jargon. Okay, so I'll come back to the jargon. But the moment you hit that connect with Facebook, you'll get the login page for Facebook. If you already logged in, it will directly take you to the consent page. Okay, so once you logged in, what it will ask? It will give you a consent form. In the consent form, it will mention that okay, Zomato is trying to access a profile details. Okay, or is expecting Zomato is expecting profile details from your Facebook account. Do you want to give access? I say yes or no, approve or reject. If I approve, then what happens? The authorization goes to the Facebook account, your Facebook account, not account. Let me take. I don't want to take those actors right now, so that I'll just simply say Facebook. Okay. Now, once the authorization, response goes back to the Facebook, you will get authorization code. Okay, and that authorization code directly goes to Zomato. I'll tell you how that code directly goes to Zomato. Okay, we'll come back to that point the moment I discuss the terminology. Once the Zomato gets that authorization token, authorization code, Zomato what will do? Okay, I don't know what is this. Okay, can I get the access token? So can I exchange this authorization code with Facebook and can I get the access token? Okay, so this guy will trigger the token URL plus authorization code plus client ID credentials. Now somebody will ask, whose client ID credential is this? Okay, so there is one hidden thing. I'll talk about that. But with these credentials, it will go to Facebook and it will get the access token. Now, once you get the access token, now you'll fire a API. Okay, so Facebook already exposed APIs. Gmail already exposed APIs to get the details. Okay, so for logging in, there is a API called accounts.google.com. For getting the profile details, there is an API called Get Profiles, Get Friend List, Get Photos. All these APIs are exposed by the Facebook or Gmail or for Twitter, right? But to access those APIs, you need this access token. To get these access tokens, you need to go to the Facebook and share that authorization code. To get that authorization code, you need to first ask user, because in this case, if you are clearly seeing here, right, this user over here is actually owning these resources. Am I right? So if you want to access this resource part here, you need to take the permissions from the user. So in this case, this is user as well as a resource owner also. We'll come back to this point. This again, jargon style. I'll clarify all these things. This guy's user as well as in this case, it's a resource owner also. Okay. So now once this access token is shared with the Facebook will say, I don't know what is this access token. Let me verify. So it will verify with someone. Okay, we'll talk about that. Who is this someone? And it will validate this access token, and you will get a response from that someone to Facebook. And then Facebook will say that okay, this access token is correct. You have access to profile details. You can go ahead and use this profile details. Now there are multiple questions here. Okay, so before moving forward, I just ask everyone, what is this, right? What all these things, right? So what do you see? How many? Okay, yeah, I'll take a pause over here. Okay, instead of asking questions, I'll take a pause. Any questions, Abhishek, so far?
Yes, we have few
Mm-hmm.
questions. So
Mm-hmm.
first, Anish is saying, can you please once more explain some example for Auth and OpenID Connect?
Okay. Basically, okay, OAuth 2.0 is used by OpenID Connect. With OAuth, so I'll talk about those. If you have OAuth, you can do only authorization. Okay, so if you have machine to machine communication, okay, in that case we'll be using OAuth 2.0. If you need with the authorization, you need authentication. Okay, so for example, you get the auth code from the Facebook, but you wanted to see that who logged in. Okay, if you want to track that, right, how many times the authorization code has been created for this particular client ID or client. In that case, you definitely use OpenID Connect. Okay, and for our client management in Anypoint platform, we'll be using OpenID Connect only. No specific auth 2.0. Okay, since OpenID Connect give both, it gives authentication as well as authorization. So I'll come back to that point also, but let's discuss this. Yeah, the second question, Bishop.
Okay, so Aditya is saying, and maybe now you answered, he should get it. So
Mm.
yeah, Aditya has got it. So is authentication and OpenID authorization? No, auth is authorization and OpenID is authentication. So that is answered. So can you explain the difference between authentication and authorization?
Okay, okay. I'll take one layman perspective. Okay, so let's once you go to, again I'll take that example. Okay, so once you go to hotel, right, you already did the booking, correct? But once you go to the receptionist, she will ask you to show me your ID card. What, some case they will ask you to show the government approved ID card. That is what authentication. You are authenticated now, you are the right person. Okay, now they will give a key. That key, that's where the authorization started. Now, in the hotel, there are so many rooms, right? But you'll be able to access only one room from that hotel. That means that is authorization. You are right person. You are allowed to enter in the hotel. But are you getting access to all the rooms or a dedicated room? Getting dedicated room is authorization. Getting access to specific room is authorization. Okay, getting, you have ID card, right? That ID card is just for entering to your office. Do you have access if you go to office, right? You get in general, if you have office, if your database server room, right, do we have access to that room? Do you have access to the CEO room? No, right? So those, your authorization, your scope of access is already defined in your ID card. That is what, when you go to hotel, when you get the key, that key is nothing but access token, and that access token will be used to get the authorization. So authorization will be, hope that is clear now, right? I gave a
Uh,
simple example, day to day life example, so you'll understand better, right?
yeah. So Ashish, just correct me
Hmm?
if I'm wrong. Can we say like authorization means to get the permission and authentication means to validate that permission?
No,
Okay.
first authentication will happen. So
Huh?
first of all, they will say whether you are the right person.
Correct.
So let's say you are asking, right?
Mhm.
Okay, I did the booking in this hotel. Okay, can you give me the key?
Hmm.
So before giving key, they will ask you who are you, right?
Hmm.
So first they will ask you who are you. Okay, so you'll identify yourself. That
Hmm.
part come first. So identification come first. Okay,
Hmm.
and then once you get the identification, then they will give authorization. Authorizations will based on some key, right? So when you buy, when you do booking, right, you will say I want the normal room, deluxe room, or you want the, what you call, some special room. Okay, so those are available over there. You selected one room from there, that is your scope, right? When you did booking, right, you selected already scope, and that scope is nothing but the, comes in your access key, and that access key will give only that access, right? That is called authorization. So before doing authorization, before providing authorization to you, you'll
Hmm.
get authenticated first.
Authentication. Okay.
Yeah,
Fine.
so first they will check whether you are a right person to ask this question. Once
Okay. Yeah.
that is solved, that is answered, then they will
Hmm.
go and check what scopes you have applied for, right?
So yeah. So that only like authentication is validation and authorization is giving permission for over that validation.
Correct, correct.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's correct.
That's what.
Mhm,
Okay.
mhm.
So next question is auth 2.0 is not same as OpenID Connect in context of user access, or OpenID Connect is some different context when talk about application users or individual users. If you want,
I
I
would
can.
say, yeah, I would say you cannot call OpenID Connect without OAuth 2.0. As I mentioned, it's what I say, some extra stuff added to OAuth 2.0, and that extra stuff I already mentioned, right? The ID token to identify the user, because OpenID Connect cannot exist without OAuth 2.0. So we should not compare OAuth 2.0 with OpenID. This is not apple to apple comparison. OpenID Connect is something which is OAuth 2.0 plus Delta. Okay, that is what mathematically I can say that. Okay, these two are not different. Okay, these two are like authorization. If you want only authorizations, you can simply go ahead and use OAuth 2.0. Okay, if you don't want only authorization, if you want authentication also, then go ahead and use OpenID Connect. That is what we are going to use in our Anypoint platform demo. Okay.
Okay, and now there is not a question but a request from Anil. So he
Mhm.
lost his connection in last few minutes, like 7 minutes before, for
Okay.
few minutes. So he was asking like the current example with this geometry one which we are explaining. Can you please explain that again?
Can you
That's
repeat
okay.
again?
So it's a request from Anil. So he lost his
Mhm.
connection in between. Seven
Mhm.
minutes ago, like before we are answering other question, before that he lost his connection in between for some time. So he's requesting, can you explain this particular scenario which we are explaining before taking the question? Can you explain that again?
This one. Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Anyway, Anil, you'll get a recording. Okay. No need to worry about this. Everything is recorded. So
yeah,
better, we can save that time. Everything is
yeah.
explained there. You'll get a recording also. Okay, Anil. Yeah. Okay. Now let's go to the terminology. Okay. Uh, let's see here. So I'm going to talk about all this terminology now, and what we say, label this actors over here. So there is an actor over here as already labeled, which is user and resource owner. User who was actually wanted to create a profile over here in this particular app, and the it has an account in Facebook also. Okay, he already had an account in the Facebook, and in the Facebook he has profile details, he has friend list, he has photos, he has location tags. Okay, now second one is who is actually requesting authorization code and the access token. The Zomato app. The Zomato app is nothing but a client. This is the client. Okay, now before the user asks the Zomato to create profile, this client this client is already registered with the Facebook. He's already registered. That's the reason he has this client credentials over here. I mentioned, right, from where this client credentials are coming. Before even this scenario comes into picture, this Zomato app is already registered with Gmail. It's already registered with Google. Instead of Gmail, I can say Google. It's already registered with Facebook. It's already registered with Twitter. That's the reason when you try to log in Zomato, you'll get this option: connect with Gmail, connect with Twitter, connect with Facebook. So this guy already has the client credentials from Facebook in Zomato. Okay, so this client credentials you are not creating. Okay, so the resource owner, the client, hope that is clear. Authorization server, who is issuing this auth token, who is validating the auth token, who is giving the access token. This is the guy. Okay, so every third party, Facebook, Gmail, Twitter, either they will have authorized server and resource server same, or they will have different. Even some scenarios they will outsource their authorization server to somebody else, but they will be accessing that authorization. Authorization server is somebody who is actually giving you the authorization. Okay, which is already in issuing the auth token, who is already who is actually issuing the access token. This is your authorization token, authorization server. Resource server, these details are actually APIs. These are APIs. These APIs are already running on or hosted on some server. That server is nothing but resource server. So this is your resource server. Resource server. Okay. Now redirect URL, right? And then access token. We'll talk about this. Redirect token. So I was mentioning that this auth token, how come this auth token received from authorization server directly to this Zomato app? When you connect with Gmail or connect with Twitter or connect with Facebook, when you hit that particular button, that time itself, the request was generated. That request has this redirect URL. So that request says that once this consent form is filled, okay, once this authorized, okay, where should I send this authorization code, this auth code? That is mentioned in the request when you're sending the request from your client to the authorization server. Okay, in that request itself, redirect URL will be there, and that redirect URL will be used to send this auth code to that particular app. So let's say this app is deployed on 8081. Okay, so there will be some URL mentioning that localhost colon 8081. That is your redirect URL. So once the auth code is created, okay, or issued, that will get diverted to this client app internet. Okay, and this thing, this are happening on browser only. This all things are happening on browser only. If these things are happening on browser, we call it something front channel. I didn't mention here, but this is called front channel. And once this app, right, this is a client app, which is Zomato, it can be Zepto, it can be something else. This guy, once auth code, this guy will trigger a API, which is your REST API, get profile details. This happens from this guy to this guy behind the scene in the backend. We call that backend channel. Backend channel. Okay. Now, if you see why we are using front-end channel and backend channel. So whatever we did right now, right? Few things are there which are sensitive, which are visible in the browser itself. Authorization code always visible in browser. I don't know whether you guys notice or not. When you log into your Anypoint platform, right? You see in the URL there is authorization code comes in the URL itself. It will be visible. So it's not always secure to use only front channel. Okay, somebody can see this authorization code. Somebody can access your platform itself. So there are some scenarios where you'll be using backend channel. Okay, so backend channel, it says that no, I won't believe on this auth code. Can you go ahead and give me your access token? That's the reason. Even we have auth code. With the auth code, you cannot access this profile details API. Okay, and whenever you use this auth code, that grant type is nothing but authorization grant. Okay, authorization code grant. And here, if you see, you are going from user to auth server to app to resource server. You are moving from here and there. This is called authorization dance, OAuth dance. Okay, hope this is clear. The terminology is clear. Okay, everyone. If you have any questions, yeah, please go ahead and explain. Sorry, ask me any question. Okay, sorry for that. If you have any questions, Abhishek, yeah, I can take a pause over here.
Yeah, Aditya is saying, sir, how can first three step occurs in browser only, as a request should go to Facebook server to authenticate the user? Please explain.
Okay, so when you are opening Zomato app in the browser, right? When you're trying to create the account in Zomato, sign up form will come, right? In the sign up form, there is option to log in via Facebook. Everything is happening in the browser itself, right? So you hit that, connect with Gmail or connect with Twitter or connect with Facebook. Once you click that, right? So that is also happening over browser. Once you hit that, you'll get a login form for Facebook, right? So in the login form, you are sending details, your credentials, correct? Then once those credential reaches to this, those will get verified. Again, consent form will come to the browser. It will show that, okay, the Zomato app is trying to access your profile details, your contact details. That is also happening over browser. Now the browser will send this once you hit that, right? Click the checkbox. You want to give access to the profile details, friend list, and you say approve. The moment you hit approve, this authorized API will get called. It will go to the auth server. Then it will send the authorization code on the redirect URL. That is also visible. That will come back to Zomato, and that Zomato app will get web page will get loaded. So I'm talking about not only three, 1, 2, 3, 4, all are happening over your web browser only. Okay. Any more questions, Abhishek?
Yes. He's saying my details are verified as Facebook server and not verified at browser.
Verification is happening at server. We are seeing these steps, right? All these steps are, so you're entering some details, those are on browser. The consent form which is stating, that is on browser. Your authorization, you are saying, right, give him the profile details, access, give him the, so these all are happening on the browser itself, via browser. I would say via browser, right? Better term is via browser. All these steps are, instead of saying happening on browser, yeah, you're correct, via browser. All these are happening via browser. So that's what the front channel is. So I would say that this information is getting pushed to the server, authorization server, via browser. Now
Okay.
when the Zomato is accessing profile details, that is not happening via browser. Okay, so this Zomato has the internal code. From your code, the app code, this API is getting triggered by using this access token, and this access token is coming from this token URL when you're sharing your auth code and the client credentials. Hope these client credentials are clear. These are already created before even this scenario comes into picture, because Zomato is already registered with the Facebook, Gmail, and Twitter. That's where they receive. So Facebook is already aware of Zomato. Okay, front end channel, back end channel,
Yeah.
and this dance. Okay, this is called dance because there are multiple actors over here. Okay, client is there, resource owner is there, auth server is there, resource server is there. Sometimes auth server, resource shares will be there on same server will be serving both the responsibilities. But in this case, or sometime it will be even outsourced from the Facebook to some other party, the auth server. Okay, hope this is clear to
Yeah, it's cleared. Anil is asking what happens when we use mobile app when we select Facebook for Zomato login.
mobile app behaves the same way. So it will go to your mobile app, right? So from the Zomato. Okay, so when you say create account, right, actually are you installing the Zomato app? We are talking about browser right now. Okay, so from the browser you will get that option to connect with Gmail, connect with
He's asking about mobile app installer.
app installing. I don't see that option, right? App means you are creating account in the app. Okay, you are not saying that create my account with the Facebook app. Did you see that option when you are installing the Zomato?
Yeah, there is just a login option.
Yeah.
Like you can
Okay.
log in through that and you can do.
So I said, right, you can
Hmm.
you can create your profile in two ways. You can directly go enter your details over there. Okay, and then create the profile. Second option, you don't want to enter the details, you go ahead directly ask Facebook to give all this, and this is what all dance happened behind this. We just click, but when you never notice that what all things are happening, right? Clear?
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe we can take one last for now and then we can
Okay.
continue. So
Okay.
Abhay is asking authorization code versus implicit grant type.
Okay, so yeah, that is similar to this auth code. Instead of auth code, we directly get the access token. Okay, and that everything happens via browser only. So implicit code is little less secure than the auth code grant type, but it is at second level it's secure. Okay, so everything happens over from the browser. Implicit code, instead of auth code, directly we'll get a token. Okay, directly we'll get a token over here, and we'll be accessing the profile details. That is implicit code. Okay, we are going to get auth code and then the access token. We'll get the direct access token here. Okay, so only front end channel will be used in that case. No backend channel. Okay, clear?
Yes. So would you like to take question, or shall we move forward and then we can take rest questions?
Okay, so I just wanted to tell you guys. Okay, I wanted to show that how the request goes. Okay, so what all things will be there in the request. So say I was talking about this, right? So your authorization server, let's say running on 8081, and your client app is running on 1234. Now see, this is the redirect URL. You are telling that, okay, boss, when auth code is successfully issued, send that auth code to this particular URL. The moment auth code generated, right, you will see the URL, this URL in your browser with something like auth code, authorization code is equal to your value. Okay, and sometimes there will be scope also there. These two values, this URL will be there, and this URL, redirect from your authorized, which is your Facebook, from Facebook to your client app, which is Zomato. Okay, it will take you from there to Zomato. Okay, hope that is clear. Now see here the second, that is what I'm talking about. So see here, it will take you to the Zomato app. Now Zomato app said, okay, I got the authorization code. Can you give me access token? So again, if you remember, 8081 is running. 8081 is related to the Facebook. It will send you the grant type, which is authorization code, client ID, client secret. This client ID and client secret, which was already generated by the Zomato with Facebook. Okay, and again you will get the redirect token. So redirect URL here. Okay, and then you'll get a URL something like this, response something like this. Finally, you'll get the bearer token from here, and this token you'll use to invoke this particular get profile REST API from. Okay? This is how it happens. This many calls happens, for accessing your profile from. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So let's say, okay. I move on to the next. Okay. Any questions, Abhishek, or can I move?
Uh, no, you can move. Like Shruti has watched question, but I answered. She was
Hmm.
asking like, are auth grant and access token are similar? So I answered no. Grant type is used to get the access token.
Yeah,
Aditya
correct.
has one question. What are the different grant types? But I think Aditya Ashish is going to be coming in that point now.
Yes,
Different.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So one already we have covered, which is our auth code grant type. Okay, where you will get auth code, you exchange that auth code to get the access token. Okay. Now in some scenario, right? In some scenario, now you created the profile in Zomato. Now you want to order something, or you want to see the order details. Now here, now let's go back to the terminology again. Who is the resource owner here? This orders, membership, offers. This is your resource server. Okay, let me again label it resource server. This is your auth server. This is your client. Hope everybody is clear. And this is resource owner. Why I'm saying resource owner? Why I'm not saying the the user only? Because whatever resources we have seen here, these are actually belongs to resource. What orders he did, okay, what membership he has, what offers he has, what favorites he has, okay, all this belongs to this particular person. Okay, now let's see what is our use case. Now he created the account on Zomato. Now he wanted to see the order details. Okay, and let's in the next use case we'll see he wanted to order a pizza. We'll see all those use cases. Okay, so now get order details. So on the Zomato, right, on the Zomato server, right, if this is a client, right. So here there'll be in this auth server, there are multiple users accounts, right. Now When this guy says, can you give me my order details? So this guy will contact the auth server. Now he has access directly because client app is already registered with the Zomato auth server, right? So he has a contact. But if I don't tell that, okay, which user, okay, give me the details, order details of a specific user, not all users. Zomato client has access to all the user details. Now I have to filter those users. How I can filter those users? I can pass the user credentials. Now, since I'm passing this user's credentials, actually I am sharing or compromising my credentials. So that's why this option is less secure. Client has to handle the user credentials. So this is very less secure grant type in case of if you prioritize all these grant types. When the first one is highly secure is your auth code, then implicit, and now this is the resource owner password. Okay. So now once you call here the token URL, you give the client credentials of the client app and then user credentials that, okay, give me order details, okay, for this particular user. But authorization server is not going to give order details, right? He will give, okay, take this key. So this is a reception, okay. This will say, okay, take this key, go to your, the resource server and tell that, okay, this is the coupon, this is token, I got it, give the details. That is what the client app is going to do. Get orders is the REST API, which is hosted on resource server. This resources are owned by this particular user. That's why we are calling resource owner. Now, if you are getting access token with the help of resource owner password, then this grant type we call it resource owner password grant type. Okay. Hope this is clear to everyone. Right? He will get order details. Is that clear? Okay. Again, I'll take a pause over here, Abhishek. If you have any questions, let me know.
Yeah, Vivek is asking one question. Last redirect URL is from client to Facebook, or it's
Mm-hmm.
port of Facebook.
Redirect you are always from the client. Okay. The port number, all that thing, it's from the. So we are telling auth server that on which host I am running and on which port number I am reaching. Okay. So that is completely related to the redirect URL always belongs to client. Okay. Next question, Abhishek. Yeah, sorry, I'm bothering you, man.
No, no, no,
Okay.
no, no. That's fine. That's fine. When you're saying uh, payload that take 20 minutes to process, but within 10 minute access token expires, the remaining payload.
No, I didn't get this question, man.
No, he's
10
saying now.
minutes.
Now
Hmm.
suppose our taxes, the TTL for our token is 10 minutes, but
Okay.
there is some process which take 20 minutes to respond.
Mm-hmm.
So how to handle the remaining payload? Like how you will handle that situation where the token expired in 10 minutes, but the process is taking 20 minutes to return a response.
Okay. Guys, very simple answer to this. Okay. Once you reach your API, okay, once you hit that API, once your request is started serving, that's it. That's where the access token is used. Once you open the room of your hotel, only to opening the room that key will be used. Entire in when you are inside the room, nobody can throw you out unless you have authorization or booking for that, right? So access token is only for accessing that app. Okay. In how many times taking for generating the response, that is not the responsibility of access token. Next time when you're trying to access the same app, your access token is expired, you need to take new access token. Okay. My point here is access token is only to get in. Okay. It won't wait for how much time you're taking to process that request. Hope that is answer to the question. Okay.
Yeah, and just to add, Asis, sorry again,
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Mm-hmm.
intervening in between.
Mm-hmm.
Now, suppose if there is a process, now in we have a process where I have got several HTTP requester, which
Mm-hmm.
is using the same token. Okay. Now the process, if the process is taking 20 minutes, suppose, and the token expire in 10 minutes. So suppose the first requester is hit with the same token, it took 5 minutes, then it's done some process and it goes to another. By that time, if it is 15 minutes, in that case, we need to write some logic internally so that we can refresh the token. Like we'll create a common flow where we are generating the access token. So we need to write a logic so that we can reach out to that particular flow again to refresh the token, and we can start with that particular point.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, as an architect, right, Abhishek, whatever question you asked, right, that is automatically handled. Okay.
No. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I'm putting an input. Like if that is a scenario where not the particular request but a process is taking 20 minutes, then
Correct.
there we need to write a logic where we can write a logic to refresh the token if it is expired, instead of
Okay.
giving any error that the token is expired and stopping the process.
Yeah. So I got your scenario. If your scenario is sequential, yes, you need to write the logic. If your scenario is not sequential, if it is a parallel, right? Once you hit your API, if that API is deployed on some other server, you can hit n number of requests with the same token.
Correct.
Okay, and those requests will get processed in different thread, right? So it doesn't mean that first request is taking 5 minutes, so the second request will wait for that. Not like
Correct.
that.
Correct. If
It
it is
depends on
sequential, then only. Correct. Not in
yeah.
parallel, but in sequential. I'm taking an example of sequential.
Correct.
If there is a sequential scenario, then definitely you need to write a logic to refresh the token instead of stopping the process because your token is expired. Then the token will expire in every time whenever you do the process. If that is the same.
And one more thing,
Yeah.
we don't need to write any custom logic for that. In our HTTP requester component itself, we have
Yeah.
facility to use object store to store that token, and whichever API call is failing or whichever API sees that the access token is expired, that API call responsibilities to get the new access token again, refresh the object store so that the subsequent calls will use the latest token. Okay, so that logic is already there in the HTTP requester itself. We don't need to write any custom logic.
Custom logic. Yeah. Okay. Thanks for that. Yeah. I hope Venu is also fine with that. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Now let's say very list secure, which is your client credential. So client credential should be used only when if you are doing machine to machine, communication. Okay. You should not involve anybody. So this is completely backend channel. Okay. No front end channel involved in this case. Okay. So again, same thing. Now user wants to get the pizza. Okay. Now I am saying user here. I am not saying resource owner. Why? Because this guy who is your client, right, is a auth server here, and this is your resource server here. Whatever is hosted on resource server, the pizza type offers, this resource have not belongs to user our user account. That's the reason we are saying this guy is only user. He's logging to Zomato and saying that, okay, can you order, let me order my pizza, right? So Zomato will go, and this Zomato is already registered with the Pizza Hut, Domino's and all that. Okay, so now what this guy will do, this guy will log into the auth server. Now he will use his own client ID client. Do we need anything related to the user now? No, right? So here it is machine to machine communication, and he will get the details. Okay, nothing will be visible to us. Okay, automatically it goes to the auth server, it will verify and get the pizza type, offers and restaurant, all those things for us. No browser communication, only backend channel. So it will go to the auth server, verify this matter, because this Domino's auth server, right, he will be having other registration also, Zomato, Zepto, apps. Okay, I didn't even remember. I just ordered something from Zomato or Zepto. Okay, there are some apps. Those will be registered in author. So this whether it's this request is coming from Zomato, Zepto, or some other apps, that request has to be verified. Right? So that is getting verified in the auth server, and then he will say get pizza types. Okay, that access token will get validated here, and you will get all the pizza types in the Zomato. Those Okay, so this is the last grant. So we have authorization code grant type, implicit, we have resource owner password, and we have client credential. Okay. Yeah, so these are the grant types. Okay. Yeah. Any questions, Abhishek? Okay.
Yeah. So Aditya is asking, in client credential grant type,
Mhm.
it is
Mhm.
authorization server or authentication server?
So depends, right? Whether you are configuring your IDP with OpenID or only authorization. Okay. So here, when you are passing, right? Let me go to the previous slide. You are passing your client ID, client secret, right? So your the authentication is also happening on the auth server, right? And then you'll get access token. So when you register, the Zomato app registered with the Domino's Domino's site, right? In the that time, all the scopes, all the identifications was provided, and then only they got the client ID and client secret, right? The moment you got the client ID and client secret, that means your identification, what all scopes you have, what all permissions you have, everything is included with this client ID client secret. Once you pass the client ID client secret, you are doing authentication also and authorization also there. Okay, so that means you'll get access token, and that access token will get verified. That's it. Okay, the moment that access token is verified, if that access token is correct, that means that in that access token the things will be mentioned, right? Okay, so you have access to this scope. Okay, and then this pizza type will these are again APIs, REST APIs. I'll show you the demo whether on this pizza type REST API, right? You'll be having get method, you'll be having post method, you'll be having delete method, right? In the on the same resource, correct? Now with this access token, can I only use a get method, or I can do delete method also? So this all scopes, right? This all scopes are mentioned over here in this authorization when you're taking access token. So when you're taking access token, that time itself you'll mention, okay, I want the token for this scope. Scope is equal to, sometime you mention read, sometime you mention write, sometime comma separated you can give. Okay, if you say delete also, so this scopes you'll mention in your URL itself, right? When you're triggering this token URL, that time you'll mention this this token. Okay, so okay, so that access token will have the scope information also. So somebody is asking, right? Authentication authorization, it's happening over here in this order. Okay, so authentication happening via client ID, and the scopes and the policies, those will be their scopes. With the help of scope, the authorization will happen. Okay, so the client ID will take care of authentication, and the scopes will take care of authorization. Is that clear, Abhishek?
Yeah. Ashish, there is one question from Suresh. He's asking,
Mm-hmm.
any security violation or issue if
Mm-hmm.
we use same token to call different APIs?
Same taken to call different APIs.
Yes. If will be there any security violation or issues if we do that?
Hope all those API calls the same server. For example, on our Anypoint platform, we have platform APIs, right, guys? So I can take one token and call multiple APIs, and all those APIs are on the same server. With the same token, you cannot call the APIs which are running on different environment and different server. Hope that is very clear. Okay, one token will be working for one environment. Okay, you cannot take the token for Anypoint platform and run or try to trigger some API from Okta. Not possible, right? But this token will be valid for the API which are running on my Anypoint platform. That's what we do for our Anypoint platform API calls, right? We take only one token, okay? And our beauty of Anypoint platform token URL is, even if you trigger that token URL multiple times, it gives the same token. Take my words, okay? Unless that token is expired, it won't give you different token at all. That's the beauty of an Anypoint platform, not Okta. When you get, even if you use connected app, even if you use client ID, client secret via connected app, or use your Anypoint platform credentials, you go back and check, okay? Only one token will be used for all the different. If I wanted to connect to design center and connect to exchange to upload my assets and then go to runtime manager. If I'm doing that, so basically the app, the token which I'm getting it from Anypoint platform, that will be valid for, or the expiry time is 60 minutes. Okay. 3600 seconds we get it. Am I correct, Bishop?
Yeah.
Okay, so the security violation is not possible. Okay, because with that token you cannot call two different APIs which are running on two different servers. Not possible, because every server will have its auth server. Okay.
Yep, that's clear. For Suresh as well.
Okay. Now let's take the first demo, guys. Okay, so how much time I have? I think I'm always crossing.
It's
Okay.
12:15.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
And
guys,
Ashish, sorry
yes.
to say, but I will need to log.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so thanks for the help, Abhishek. That's a great help, man.
Anytime. We are buddies.
Okay. Okay, so what I'll do now, so I have a demo for, so we'll be integrating the IDP with our Anypoint platform, and we'll be seeing there how my user is getting uh, directly added to the teams, specific team. And then second demo, we see that we'll integrate client management, client provider, and in both scenario we'll use Okta. Okay, so let's see these two very useful scenarios. So first we'll directly map the Okta groups with the teams, okay, in Anypoint platform. And second one, we'll create scopes and access policies in Okta. And based on the scopes and access policies, we'll get the token. And based on the token, the things will be validated in your Anypoint platform using JWT policy. Okay. Okay. After that, we'll be having general guidelines. So I'll come back to that later. Okay. So let's go ahead and log into our Anypoint platform. So let me go ahead, and what we can do is instead of doing this, let me create fresh account. Okay. So let's create fresh account. Okay. So our account is ready. Directly we'll go to, or first what we'll do, we'll go to access management. Try new features. Okay. So now if you see the identity provider, nothing has been. So this is default auth server we have. Okay, auth provider, which is Anypoint platform. Even if you don't want, if you want to keep, this is called in-house auth provider. So within either Anypoint platform we have. Now recently, not recently, we can configure now multiple identity providers. Earlier it used to be only one. Okay, so we'll go ahead and configure SAML 2.0. So now I'll go ahead first. and get these details. Okay, so if you see here, we need the provider details, we need sign on URL, we need sign off URL, insert your ID, all these things we need. So what we'll do, I'll go to my Okta account. Yeah, change some UI now. Sign into Okta. Sign into Okta. Where I can get login in the sign in. Sign in. Sign in email. What is this? Okay, well, let me log in. So again, this is OAuth 2, guys, right? Okay, so we logged in here. So first thing, what we'll do is we'll go to our applications. Go ahead, applications, and since I have a trial account, we need to deactivate. It will work with only 5 apps. Just go ahead and say delete. Okay. Okay. Now we'll create one app over here. So we'll try to create SAML 2.0. Go ahead. And you can give a name here. Hope you guys are able to hear me. Can someone please, because there's a, okay,
Yes,
thank
yes.
you. Okay, so we'll go ahead, SAML 2.0. Simple. You can go ahead and upload your logo here if you have any logo and say next. Okay, so here we need a sign on URL. Okay, so right now what we'll do is we'll pass some dummy URL. Okay, I'll tell you what we can do later over there. We can add the actual URL. So we'll go ahead and add some dummy URL for now. Thank you. Identity URL. This is something where we need to get the domain. So the URL should be something like this. So you need to have your domain name here, anypoint.meetup.com. So where we can find your domain. So if I go to my this is your domain, copy it, and instead of this guy, even you can try your business group ID also. Okay? That will also work. Now let's go down. Keep all these things. Okay. Here we can pass our user specific details. So first name, you can say here user dot right side. These are nothing but coming from user dot first name. These are Okta's details, and this first name is your the Anypoint platform. So when you are logging in, right, this information will pass as a SAML response. So this is last name user dot last name. You can add few more things like email user dot email. So if you go here in our Anypoint platform, so once this is done, you can go to client provider, not client provider, and say SAML 2.0. You'll see here, first name, last name, email, and this group. Okay, so this group is nothing but a group from our Okta. Okay, so we'll pass here a group, whatever name you give here. Okay, if I pass groups here, and you can say here what all groups we have. So let's say we have C4 group here. Okay, that is almost. If you see here what we have configured, so this is the dummy URL right now we have configured because that URL will be provided by Anypoint platform. Okay, and this is a connection between Okta and Anypoint platform, and this is the information we are going to pass as part of the SAML response. These three parameters plus the group's information. Now, let me take you quickly to the, so let's go ahead and down and say next. And you can say I am an Okta customer. And you can say this is an internal app and say finish. Okay, that's it. We don't need any extra information from here. Okay. So once you go here and here also little UI change. Yeah, this side, this information you can get it. Now this information, if you see here, sign-on URL is there, the public certificate is there. Okay, you can either download this and manually go ahead, or you can go ahead and copy this, Control A, Control C, and go to your notepad. Okay, in notepad, okay. So that metadata for that particular app, we are saving it here. You go ahead, save this file as, you know, you can say this is IDP data. Hope you guys are following me. So this is metadata, and you can save this as an Excel. Okay, go ahead, IDP metadata. Okay. So once you save this, why I'm saving this file? This will help me here. Okay. So this will help me in go here. Now, instead of manually adding those URLs, I can directly go here and say choose, and hope I have added to the proper folder, or I can go ahead and say quick access, IDP metadata XML, open. Now see here, things are loaded properly. Okay. Now here I need to pass that group information, and this I can leave this blank. Other information, so first name, last name, email, that will be automatically taken care. Name ID will be coming as a user ID from the Okta. Okay. So what we have added here, I have added the metadata file, which is I have downloaded from Okta, where I have configured one SAML application. Okay. This only things we have done so far, right? So let me close this now. We are in Okta now. Okay. Now in the Anypoint platform. So let's give some name here. So I'll say simply SAML Okta. Sign up URL. We can use our Anypoint platform. And yeah, so I was talking about how these two guys, Okta and the Anypoint platform, got connected, right? So this is the link. So that link is coming from our this URL, right? Oh, by copy that URL. Come on, just a second. This URL. General, the general section. Yeah, this is the URL. Let me first down control. Okay, let's go back and control. That's it. Okay, so let's just save changes. Now, once you configure, right, this URL, ACS URL, this is SSN Consumer Service URL. This URL will be used and go here. We have given a dummy URL, right? Okay, let me not configure right now. Let's fix error one by one. Okay, so now if you see the identity provider, now you can go ahead and say sign out. I will show you. I can go here and say sign out. Now let's try to log in via custom domain. Either you do this way. Okay, so here you need to pass your domain name. That is your mule -s academy -8. That is what. Right. Continue. You'll see now. See, I got option continue with SAML. Okay, let's try to trigger this. Now it's saying that 403. Sorry, you cannot access SAML 2.0 because you are not assigned app in Okta. Now, why this is saying, if you go back in your Anypoint platform, what you have given? You have given one URL. Okay, that URL is not configured in Okta at all. Okay, so you go ahead, log in this. Oh, MFA is not enabled now for the latest account. Go to client provider. I logged into wrong. Yes. Correct only. Access management. Identity provider. SAML Okta. Copy this URL. Come to Okta and update this. Okay. Edit. Go down. Next. And this URL. Control V. Save this. Okay. One more error will get. We'll fix all those errors one by one so that you get better understanding what is happening. So we have created app application inside the Okta. Okay, that's SAML2 app, and then we have configured this identity provider as a SAML provider in our Anypoint platform. We got one single sign-on URL, which is single sign-on URL in Okta, ACS assertion URL in the Anypoint platform. Now same thing we'll do. We'll go back. It's a sign out. Custom domain. iPhone. I just copy this here so that it will be easy for me. So sorry, you can't access Anypoint sample because you not assigned app in Okta. Okay. Now let's go. Application. So this is the app we have created. Now let's go ahead. Try to add at least one person over here. So let's say assign people. I'll take assign. Okay, done. Let's go back. So now if you see, it's going one step ahead. Now the moment I have added one person to the app, I got the access to my Anypoint platform. Now actually, what behind this will happen is actually when I trigger that connect with the Okta, right? It went to the Okta, and since it was already logged in here, it goes there, check that, and it gives authorization token, okay, and then it logged into my Anypoint platform. Now, I have not mentioned any access to that particular user. So now, other than my user, which is org admin, one more user you will be able to see there in Anypoint platform. The moment login happened, okay, one more user. So right now, if you see, I logged in via user stack merge, and this is the ID. Now, this user doesn't have any access on my Anypoint platform. So if I try to access API manager, how will it? Okay, no access. Okay, what I'll do, I'll go ahead and on Anypoint platform, so I log in via my admin, which is me. Okay, so you see, this is my org admin. Now I'll make few changes. Okay, let's do that. So let's go first to the access admin. First, go to the teams, create team. Let's create something. Okay, so I just say I am creating C4 again. Now go to the permissions and add permission. Okay, so you can go ahead and for API manager, that's what we are trying to access, right? In API manager, select all. Okay, just give whatever permissions are there. Just go ahead and say give permissions to this particular team. I just don't want port. Okay, let's go ahead and see. Okay, now we have created one team. Okay, now go to settings here. Under settings, what you can say, okay, what is the group name? The group name is C4E, which is coming from Okta. Which provider is giving that information? SAML Okta. Whether you want to add it as a maintainer or a member, you decide. Let's go ahead and add it as a member. Click on add and say save changes. Okay. Now let's go back one more step and check whether the group's information is coming down or not. Yes, it's coming as a group's information here. Let's go back to Okta. Whether do we have this group over there? Okay, with the name called C4E. Go back to the applications. Go back to the applications. The user which you are logging in, right? You go here. Go to directory. And if that group is not there here, you can go ahead and create it. It's there. I have already created. Okay, so you can go ahead and create it. Okay, C4. Now you can logically group people in Okta side. So see, I have added few users over here, and one of the user is this. Right. So this user is part of C4E. and the application is trying to access my Anypoint platform. I have attached this application to this user. Okay, hope this is clear to everyone. I have created app. I have added one user. That user is part of the group called C4. See this user, and this user is part of group. I can directly go and add all the members from that group. So if I add the group here directly, all the members will be part of or assigned to this particular app. Now, if I go ahead and log into my Anypoint platform, the same user will be having access. But before that, let me show you. Let me show you the users. See here, this user was created as an admin user when I created the account. When I logged in from Okta, this user got created, and with this all information, this information is coming from the Okta. Okay, all this information. Okay, now let's go ahead and log in again with the same URL, same user now, and let's see what happens. I'm expecting some magic, but let's see. So now same URL and copy. Let's see. Control V. Go ahead. Continue with the SAML Okta. Log into my Anypoint platform. Now, if I hit API Manager, see here, now I'm able to access API Manager. How? How this happened? I didn't give any permission to that user, but this is a magic happened because of now if I go to access management, this guy doesn't have access to access management. It has only access to API Manager. Let's see runtime manager. No, it's taking time. That means this guy doesn't have access. Okay. Clear? Now see, no, not authorized. Now if I go back, I'll show you, and then we are done with this demo. Okay, Control V. Sorry, I need to log off. Sign out. Now, if you remember properly, I have created team inside Anypoint platform, but I didn't assign any. Okay, under my team, I didn't assign any user. But now, if I go and see C418, see the automatically user has come and sits over here. And if you remember, we have said that whoever is coming from that C4 group, it will be a member of this team. See, this automation will happen. So right now we're talking about only one user. We'll be having hundreds of users, right? And you before asking them to log in, you already created the team structure for them. The similar hierarchy which you have in your company. Okay, so master business groups, sub business groups, and then the same business group will repeat that hierarchy for the teams. So automatically, this logical grouping is done on Okta side, and that is getting automatically reflected in my Anypoint platform also. Clear, everyone? Any questions? Sorry, I'll take a pause over here. If you have any questions, let me know. Yeah, can you give me check if I am okay till so far? Everybody is able to hear me. Sakni, can you please go ahead and confirm, please?
Yeah.
And is this clear till so far?
Yeah, it's clear to me. I'm checking for questions.
Okay, no, please go ahead.
I
Okay,
don't think there are much questions out there.
thank you so much. Okay.
Yeah, fine to go ahead.
Just keep eye on over there on the chat because I
Right.
am on this screen. Okay, I won't be able to see. Okay, now let's jump on to the second the demo. Okay, from my side on this demo, my intention was to so uh, there are users this side. Okay, so basically, just a second. Okay, so there are users on Okta. So I have created groups over here, and I added those users to that groups. On Anypoint platform, I have created teams. Okay, I have given a permission, so I added permissions to this team. Okay, and then I logged in via Okta to Anypoint platform. So whoever was there here, right? Let's say user 123. Those user brings this group's information, and Anypoint platform checks on the team level. Is there any configuration? Yes, the configuration was, let's say the group name is C4E, right? That C4E information reaches to team, and team sees that okay, the group has the C4E. Okay, let me bring this user to my team, and that group was that user was added over here 123. Since this user was added to 123, all the permissions was there. Whatever permission was there in the team automatically inherited by this guy, and he was able to see my API manager. Before doing this, he was not able to access API manager. Same user, same login, everything we have tried. Correct? Yeah. Now let's see this. Okay, this is little tricky. Okay, so I just give you little background about this. Okay, so now I have Okta. Okay, here. Now what I'm going to create? I'm going to create OpenID app now. OpenID app. Okay, OpenID Connect app Okta site. Okay, I'm going to create a scope. I'm going to create access policy, and then via client provider, I'll be creating a simple API here, most probably a proxy API. Okay, and that proxy API will be applying a JWT policy. And in this proxy API, I'll be having get method, get resource, and post resource. Okay. Now what I'll say, okay, when I'm creating scope here, so I'll say only read scope can access get method, and write scope can access post method. Okay, so we'll do this way. So if I create a token by using scope read, I'll be able to only use able to access only get method. Okay, if I'm creating access token via scope write, I won't be able to access get method. I'll be able to access post method only. Okay, this is what we are going to do now. Okay, clear everyone? That is what the scope demo. Let me go quickly and discard. Okay, again we'll go back to our Anypoint platform now. Okay, so Okta. Okay, sorry, Okta. We need to go to Okta. Go to applications again. Okay, now create app integration. Now this time we are not going to create SAML 2. We are going to create OpenID. Go ahead, say web application. Next. Okay. Again, here we'll give name. So this is okay. Anypoint. This is OpenID, right? OpenID. Okay. Okay, you can go ahead and we can upload our logo. So I say I use a client ID credentials. Okay, other than this. Okay, so we'll use this URL. Okay, letter and anything else. Okay, so here right now, okay, we'll use this dummy URL. So our again same thing, right? So we'll try to give some dummy URL over there. Let's see this. See, looks like I'm missing some info here. Let me see. Okay. Yeah, that's it. Nothing more than this. So we'll get Save. We'll get this client ID. Go to our okay. Copy this. This is our client secret. Okay. These two things will be used to generate the token. Okay, let's go back to applications. Just want to check whether I have configured properly. Okay. Single sign-on. Open and connect. Nothing to say. Now we go to security. And we have something called API here. And under API, either you can create a new auth server or you can use the default. Okay. Now go back here. And if you want to see few informations from here, you just go ahead and it will give you metadata about the auth server. So what is your URL and all that. Okay. Now, few informations we need it from here. So I'll just say copy this, go to a notepad. I just say it's a JSON. Okay. Okay. So I need few URLs from here. I'll just use this later. Now come back. I use a default auth server, so I don't want to change anything here. I was talking about scopes. Okay, so let's go ahead and check here the scope. Okay, so I have added two scopes. You can go ahead and add it. Very simple. Add the scope. Simple. Say here I can say user. Read. Important is the access policy. Okay. One more scope I have, which is colon. Give me 5 minutes, guys. Okay. Finish this off. I added the scope. Now I have access policy here. Okay. So in access policy, again, you can go ahead and add a new rule over here. I'll go ahead and edit the default one itself. Okay. So you go ahead and other than client credentials, you should not have anything selected over here. I'm saying all the, so you can go ahead and say that any user assigned to the app, whoever is with this app, then you can go ahead and add the group if you want. And then we'll add our scopes here. So our scopes are user, colon, read. Okay, you select. Will get popped up here. And other one was user, colon, write. These are the two default scope I want for this particular access policy. And this access policy is a default access policy. That means whenever you're trying to create a token from the token URL which is hidden somewhere here. It will allow you to create only access token for these two scopes. Okay. Now down, you can go ahead and you can change these credentials for configurations of values for your access token as well as your refresh token. Okay. So how long your access token should be valid? So somebody was saying 10 minutes, right? You can go ahead and by default is 1 hour. And refresh token is always unlimited unless if you don't access that access token within 7 days, then it's going to expire. Okay, so you can go ahead and edit it. And I'll keep all the default values and set the update. Okay, so now I have a policy. Okay, I took the client ID and client secret for this app. I go to my Anypoint platform quickly. Okay, and hope I logged in via. Okay, all right. Go to the API manager and quickly I'll create API, add API, add new API, communicate, deploy proxy, and just select a proxy. Okay. Next. Create new. Proxy API. Select HTTP API. I'm just trying to create one proxy API for non-mail API which is running somewhere else. So just wanted to apply the policy so that it will take less time. Okay, so go ahead and here this is my favorite API. Okay, reference starting API. Other than this, nothing else. So fine. Okay, go ahead. 70. Okay, so right now it's unregistered, so it will get deployed in runtime manager. But meanwhile, you can go ahead and apply the policy so that we can save the time. Okay, so now I have not integrated client provider form. Okay, and for JWT validation, we don't need that. Okay, unless you want to do client validation. Okay, so for JWT validation, while they're selecting this, I'll just come, so there are two policies here. Okay, so one more policy you'll get it, which is your OAuth policy. Other than this, okay, other than this policy, once you configure your client platform, one more policy will be visible here to apply that. Okay, and that is your OAuth policy. So if I wanted to go back my presentation right, here, if you take this example, see in this area, right? If for every call, when you say get pizza type, if you are going to call validate URL every time, this is what done by that OAuth policy. OpenID connect policy. Okay. Once you configure your client provider with your Anypoint platform, one policy will be visible, which is OpenID connect. Okay. Now, once you deploy this policy, what this policy does, every time this client will get verified with this auth server, every time for every call, which is performance point of view. If you look at performance, this is not good. Okay. Because every call, but this is a network call, right? Your auth server will be deployed somewhere else, your resource server will be somewhere else. And every time you're doing this call, can we do some optimization here? Can we apply some intelligence over here? Yes, we can do that. What we can do, we can get the access token which has some inbuilt information. So if I get something like this inbuilt information something is like signature. If I get a signature, and only once I can go here and I can say, okay, can you give me a public key? So this guy authorization server will give me a public key. I can store this public key for some time. I can cache it. In other words, we say cache it. So let's say for 60 minutes I cache it. So for 60 minutes, this signature will be decrypted by this public key. I don't need to go to auth server for each and every call. Within 60 minutes, whatever calls I'm getting, all those will be decrypted by this public key, which is coming from here. Okay, how to get this public key? Okay, that we'll see in JWT policy. That is what JWT policy means. Both the guys are doing same job, but the more intelligent one is JWT, which is give good performance for me. Okay, now if I want to do the client validation over here, then I need to configure client provider with my Anypoint platform. If I don't want to do client validation, I'll show you all those configurations. Then for JWT, I don't need client provider integration with my Anypoint platform. Hope this is clear. To avoid this many calls, okay. So in, let's say, in minute, if I do 100 calls, then for each call I need to go to auth server and say validate this client, those things. If I in is 100 calls, if I'm going to get same signature, right, then I can go ahead and decode that signature by public key, and this public key will be coming via URL called JWKS, and this is the URL we'll be getting it from our metadata. Okay, let's go ahead and do that. Okay, hope this is clear why I'm using JWT policy. Okay, so when you are suggesting to your client, try to give all this information so that they will be happy. Okay, so yeah, let's go ahead and configure JWT validation. Next, keep all things as it is. Okay, so if you want to talk about this policy, this RAC is algorithm, so we have HMAP also here and other algorithms. Okay, and this is nothing but the key length, so you can have 256 characters, 384, 512, and the text. If you put a text, right, you need to copy paste the public key over here, and if your public key changed over there, right, you need to make this change over here. If you want to avoid that, even if the public key changed over there in your auth server, you don't need to make any change over here. So you need to pass that JWKS URL over here. Okay, so let's go ahead and copy that URL, JWKS URL. From where you get it? We have already copied that URL metadata here. So JWKS URL. This, copy it, Control C, paste it here. That's it. Okay. Now this will give you public. Now see that JWT is caching that for 60 minutes. That means your public key will get cached over here. Now I don't want to validate the client. That's what I said. To validate this client, you need to configure your client provider with your Anypoint platform. Now I want to validate something. Okay, so let me validate that. So I'm going to validate the claim. I'll talk about what is this claim means. Okay, so let's do that first. So okay, before copying, let me go back. So let me check whether the API is ready, active. Yes, it's active. Go back here, and this is the URL. Control C, go to Postman. Guys, it will take hardly 5 minutes. Okay, so okay, so new request. proxy API which is sitting and we are able to see the output, right? So right now we didn't apply any policy. Okay, let me go quickly and show you the. So there is a .io. You can go here and you can understand how that. It will take some to load on chart token first. Okay, so your token will look like this. Okay, and there will be three parts here. First part is a red, which is your header, and it will talk about what type is and what algorithm you are used. Okay, second part will be a purple color, and which is your claim set. Here it mentioned payload, but it's a claim set. Inside the claim set, your client ID will be there, your scopes will, all those things will be available in the claim set. Okay, and the third part, which is your sky blue, which is called signature. And these three informations will be always there, in your token. So that is, we call it a self-maintained, self-contained token. Chart token are already always self-contained. You can go and see the details also. Okay, and this signature will be encoded by, encrypted by private key, so that this can be decrypted by public key. Okay, so these secrets will be decrypted by public key, which is there, Anypoint platform, which will be retrieved by the URL called JWKs. Okay, so now let me go back and apply the policy on this guy. So we'll go ahead and apply the JWT policy. So which is JWT validation. Go ahead and I will see this. Control V. And right now I don't want to skip validation. Now I'll come back to this and apply the policy. It will take some time. Meanwhile, what we'll do, we'll ready with the token. Okay. So go to my, I'll have URL, get the token. Okay. So get the token, the URL, which is this. What I do, I get our URL. These are the latest URLs. Okay, so where is the token URL? This. Get this token URL. Control C. Go back to your Postman. Paste it here. Okay, carefully. Okay. Now this has to be post method. Your grant type has to be client credentials, and your user scope should be. We have created two user scopes, right? So user read. Okay. So these are the two parameters. URI parameters will be passing. Now go to your auth. Now select basic auth and the client ID and client secret, which we got it from Okta, right? This one, client ID. It here, control V, and secret. Control V. Okay. For the password. Now go to body. Nothing is there. Okay. And header parameter, only one parameter called content type. Okay, and content type has to be WW form URL encoded. Now if you send this request, you should be able to get a token. Invalid scope. Okay.
Header is not correct, user.
Yeah. So you go ahead and the extra key was there. See here, you got a token. Now I want to decode this token and first show you how it looks. Okay. Here itself it shows that user read. Okay. One more scope we added. Remember default scope. Let's check that also. So with the right, Only with these two scopes you'll be able to get the token. Okay, see this one also. So there is no scope called in the default policy. There is no scope called read or write. Right? So simply if I give a read, let me see whether I am able to see the token. What it says, access denied. Okay, so there is no scope added to the access policy. If you remember, we added two scopes, default scope called user colon read and user colon write. Yes, you get a token. Let's copy this jot token. This is jot token. Okay, and simply you can go ahead and decode it here on your jwt.io page. You can go ahead and paste it here. Okay, control A, control V. And you can see what has been added to your chart. Now see, I am interested in these two guys. Okay, so one is CID and one is scope. So inside a scope you see user rate. Okay, so now what I do, if you remember, we applied the policy here, right? Now if I go and try to access this URL now, the policy has been applied. It will throw error. So now you need to go to headers, and you need to add one more header called authorization, and value should be bearer, and give a space, pass the token, and now if it's a send, now I'm getting output, right? Now if I go ahead and get the token for write, that also allow me to access my API, because nowhere I mentioned that these scopes on my API level or policy level. So I got the token for read as well as write, and if I pass this token to see the header level here, yes, control P. See, in this case also I'm getting. Now, how can I control only this API get method should be accessible via read? Okay, so we can go to our API, go to our policy. Inside the policy, you can mention that. Okay, boss, this get method should be accessible only with the scope called user colon read. How? Here you can go, and here you can say add. What is the key? SCP. If you go here, see where is the where the scope information is coming. You can have multiple scope. SCP. This is the key, right? Go back. Now value. How you get a value? Now this claim set. This will come under claim set. So claim set dot SCP. That is array. Okay, and it actually comes in a variable. So vars dot, I'll say claim set. Okay, claim set dot SCP, that is my value. Now I need to pass the data expression here. So go ahead, hash square bracket, okay, hash basically, and now go end square bracket. Now this will be a array, right? So I need to check contains, okay, and what exactly you're looking for here. So you are saying that, okay, boss, I want user colon read only. Only this scope should be allowed to access this get method, right? Hope that is the syntax is correct. Let me cross check my syntax. So claim set S is capital, whereas SCP contains everything is capital, everything small, and this is spelling always I make mistake. Yeah. Now go ahead and save this. Okay. Once you save this, once this is applied, now whatever we are triggering right now, okay, that should not work. Okay, This because we are taking token for user colon write, and we are trying to access a get method on this particular tag. Okay. Let me check whether it's applied. It should throw me error 401 and invalid token. Okay, let's wait for this. Okay. One more point, since it is getting applied, I don't want to do that, but you can go ahead and apply this JWT policy multiple times on your API. How? You can go ahead here and in advanced option, you can say that, boss, I want to apply this policy at resource level. So right now I want to only allow get method with this scope. So you can go ahead and say dot start. Even in get method also you can do the filter engine. You can pass your expression here and do that. Okay. So what I'm saying is save this, and one more time I want to apply the policy, JTF same policy, chart, go ahead, everything is as it is, go ahead, change this data application URL, Control C, go back here, paste it here. Okay, sorry. Data application, sorry. This one. C, go back here, Control V. Now, still I don't want to validate the client. Okay. Custom claim, add. Now this time I'm saying my key is SCP, and this has to be right, and this should be user right. Okay. And this one I want to apply on post method. So go down, say apply this. So same policy we are applying not this post. Get removed. All the post methods of this particular kind. Okay, save everything. I have applied the policy one time for get resources, one time for post resources. Now let me go and check. Invalid token, right? See. Now the get method is not going to access via this guy. Now we need to only get the token for read only, then only to allow. So let's go ahead and check the user read token. Get this. Now go copy this. See. I'm sorry guys, I'm taking time. More than what is allocated. Get method. Okay. So can I access same thing on post method? So if I simply attach to just want to check. Invalid token. See, post method, the user colon rate is not allowed. Now if I go and quickly take the right, user right is only accessible. Control C, go here. Now say Control A. It's Control B. If it's the same, it will show you that it's created and this is a created, right? Hope you can control via the scope access policies. Okay, and that's all from this